Hi everyone, this is Yossi, PTO Secretary. If you're listening to this, you're probably wondering why you're not seeing the usual video format. Well, we had our general meeting on Tuesday night, April 22nd, and unfortunately the meeting did not record. So what I've done is I've gone back and I'm going to walk you through the slideshow that we presented and just give you a few updates about all the slides that were presented so that at least you have some idea of what happened during the meeting. Of course, the meeting minutes and the summary of the meeting will, in any case, be written and uploaded to the Cvhs PTO website, so you will always have access to that. But for those who like to have a more visual guide, I am hoping that this is going to help you. So our meeting was from 7 to 8:30, and we had a pretty full agenda. After taking attendance and approving the previous minutes, which happens at every general meeting, we had a few updates from a few of the officers, and then we also presented the board nominations for the upcoming year. And then we had two special agenda items. One was a presentation by the Akala group about college preparedness during the summer, and the other one was Principal Moss's report on implementation of the weapons detection system that's going to go in. So our meeting started at 7:05. We took attendance of the board members, most of whom were there, and then we voted to approve the minutes from the previous meeting that happened in February. Normally, I would click on that and you can see the minutes, but in case you would like to see all the previous minutes, they are all on the Cvhs PTO website. So the minutes were approved unanimously, and we began our president's report from Gari Semlani, who gave us a quick update of what we have been up to and what is coming up in the next few weeks. So for those of you who attended Crash Bash, which was our get together at the end of the year, I hope that you had a good time. It was a very successful event. We sold a lot of tickets. We had a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody who came, and thank you for all the organizers. It was a very successful event. The next thing that's coming up that's pretty important is going to be our senior scholarship applications. We received 81 senior applications, and the deadline has already passed, so we are through receiving applications, but they are being reviewed, and of those, 10 will get $1,000 scholarships and 10 will get honorable mentions. Thank you so much for everybody who got their seniors to apply. And you'll hear about the outcome soon. The other really important thing is our award night, which is for seniors, their families, and it is going to happen on Monday, May 19th. It will be at the school cafeteria, and it'll start with a dinner for the seniors at 5:30, and then our awards will start at 6. And just in case you think it's going to be a boring, kind of dragging awards night, it won't be. We have a lot of super fun door prizes. We are even giving away a projector for your seniors' dorm room. We're giving away laundry backpacks, a couple of really interesting books. And I think that it'll totally be worth your time to come and see the seniors at this night, have a really good time, and for all the families to celebrate all the hard work that their seniors have done. So please put it on your calendar and make sure to come. You will have a lot of fun. Then the next order of agenda is our t-shirts. We just want to highlight that our Cvhs students did a t-shirt drawing contest, and of all the submissions, 2 of the drawings were picked, and they are going to be featured on t-shirts that will be sold and worn by whoever gets to buy them, and all the proceeds are going to go to a Kona ice truck that we're hoping to have, I think, on field day. So just to showcase, they were very cute t-shirts. The designs were super awesome, and thanks to the students who participated, and especially congratulations to the winners. Now, some of the upcoming stuff that we have going, we are going to have a few things coming up in the next couple of months. Please be sure to go and check the calendar on the Cvhs PTO website for anything that's upcoming. Where usually the PTO does a very good job of celebrating, our administrators and our faculty. And if you would like to see when those are happening, please check the website for that. We have a very special week coming up, in fact, starting on April 28th, which is a Teacher Appreciation Week. And our appreciation committee has wonderful things set up to show our teachers a lot of love and appreciation. And please make sure to tell your students, your kids, to, especially on that week, thank their teachers, to show them a lot of love. They really do a lot of wonderful things for us, and we're very grateful. Just to mention, one of the things that's coming up, there is a Rising Senior Night on the 30th. It'll be at the school, and we encourage any of you who have juniors to come to that night, and it'll be an informative night for different things coming up for our incoming seniors. In May, we also have, our AP exams. Those are all on the website. And we will have our last PTO executive meeting and our last general meeting at the end of that month. So hope to see you guys there. We will be voting on our next year's board nominees at the next general PTO meeting, which will be in person on May 22nd. And just so you know that this year school ends on the 4th of June. I know that that's pretty disappointing for a lot of us, because we were, so many of us, hoping that we could extend a Memorial Day long weekend into the summer, but we will be ending on Wednesday, June 4th. So after the presentation of the President's report, our treasurer, Mala Gupta, did a quick summary of what we're up to as far as our budgets versus actuals on our fundraising, and what we've been spending all of the wonderfully raised funds this year. Please note that the budget is always posted to our Cvhs PTO website, and you are always free to go and look and see, how much money is raised, where the money is going, what is it being spent on. And just so you know, all the efforts to raise money during the year, and by the way, thank you for all of you who've donated and been a part of that. All that money, as much as we can, we like to turn it around and immediately use it for our students, our faculty, our teachers in the best way we can. Mala just wanted to let everyone know that the end of the year, there are a few pretty big events coming that use some of our funds. Things like the scholarship, senior scholarship, the senior awards night, teacher appreciation. A lot of stuff happens in the last couple of months, so be looking forward to that. Our VP of Volunteers, Mary Matthias, gave us a quick update on some of the college readiness events that are happening. There is, like I said, a Rising Senior Night on the 30th. There is also a senior getting ready for college event happening during the day on the 23rd of April. So please look for that and get your seniors to put that on their calendars. We will also be having a volunteer appreciation week coming up, and a volunteer appreciation week just did happen, and volunteers from many different departments were shown appreciation. Thank you to all the volunteers who constantly show up. It would really not be the PTO that it is without every single one of you. So thank you so much for everyone. And we've already mentioned the Teacher Appreciation Week. There are also some different celebrations that have either happened, like Bus Drivers Day and Librarian Day and Assistant Principals Day, and we'll be celebrating Principals Day on May 1st. There are a lot of fun things planned for Teacher Appreciation Week. So, just be looking forward to that, and hopefully our teachers will get to feel appreciated like they deserve. We love them all very much. Just some pictures from some of the celebrations that already passed. We love our faculty and staff so much, and we love our volunteers so much. We had a Top Golf event that was very successful. Our students gave us a lot of positive feedback. So many of them said they loved it and that they would totally go to something like that again if we ever set it up. And also thank you so much for everybody who participated in creating that event and volunteering and showing up. So our nomination committee for nominating the next year's board members was headed by Meghna Goswami and also included Mary Matthias and Eunice Chang. We thank all of you so much for doing so much hard work in order to whittle down all the different nominees for the different positions and for calling and asking each nominee, something about themselves and what they planned on doing. There was an open registration for nominations for the different roles, and with some, requirements, but otherwise it was advertised that those nominations were open, and after the nominations closed, then our committee did a good job of putting them all together. And these are the nominees that we are looking at for the main board positions for next year's PTO board. And Meghna gave a presentation to introduce each of these members and give a little bit of bio about each of them. And then in the May 22nd meeting, you will be voting on whether each of those members gets to come into those positions. So this will all be available on the website for you to look at. I won't take the time to go into each nominee exactly right now, but please feel free to even take a screenshot of the slideshow to look over what each person's qualifications are and what they plan to do next year to hopefully keep this wonderful PTO board going as nicely and strongly as it has been. Thank you to our current president, Gauri Samlani, who is nominated for next year as president, and for everybody else who participated in each of the roles that they were in. Some of them are going to continue those roles for next year, and then we have some new members who we are really happy and proud to welcome, hopefully, into the board for next year. So yes, please go and look at each person and read up on their bios in as much time as you need later. So then we had a special presentation provided by the Akala Group, which is a college. Actually, I will read you the bio that we presented before they logged into the meeting and presented their special presentation. Their webinar was called How to Utilize Your Summer to Strengthen Your College Application. We were very excited to have them. Perry and Barb Kalmus, they're co-founders from Akala and Equity in Access. They have presented for the school before, and they came back to present to us at the meeting. Akala and Equity and Access are on a mission to level the playing field and access to college admissions guidance. Perry and Barb are one of the most sought-after education consultants in the world, having helped the children of celebrities, Fortune 500 CEOs, and international business tycoons. Akala has worked with over 15,000 families. A few years ago, they realized that they weren't doing anything to help close this massive gap in guidance, and so they created Equity and Access, as well as the Akala platform, to help all families gain access to this kind of critical guidance. Perry and Barb are stars of the hit Netflix documentary Operation Varsity Blues. We are so excited to have them. We were excited to have them the night of the meeting, and they presented a very nice agenda for us. I will be posting their PowerPoint presentation separately so you guys can go through and read a little bit about what they presented. I think that you will find it very informative, like we all did. There were some extremely good pieces of advice that they presented to us, about work experience, about internships, and summer school, summer camps, extracurriculars, pre-college programs, community service, just ways to consider spending your summers for our students and how they can do the best they can to maximize their efforts. They had some really, really amazing pieces of advice, including things like, when you consider your work experience during the summer, it's not so much what did you do as did you do. In other words, were you using your time in a productive fashion? That was one of the key points that they presented. Perry had a very interesting point to make about work experience in the summers. He jokingly said, try and find the worst job possible. He presented his own situation when he was in high school. He worked in golf course maintenance, and it was just a very difficult job, and he was cleaning out the fields and wading in marshes. And he mentioned that sometimes these kinds of work experiences are not such obvious work experiences, and those things can help you differentiate yourself from others. They can also teach you a very special kind of work ethic. They can teach you what you don't want to do, which is a very important benefit of a summer work experience. And also, and very importantly, they can teach you to learn to appreciate the people who do these kinds of jobs on a regular basis. Your student might be doing a job in the summer just to get some extra money or to get, a good experience, but some of these people, this is their actual job, this is how they make their living, and sometimes it's really important to get the kind of perspective that you can only get by putting yourself in their shoes. So that was some of the important key pieces of advice about work experience. Then they spoke about internships. One important piece of advice that they had was that due to a lot of the funding cuts that are just happening around the country, many universities are, cutting some of these internships, especially research-based internships. And some of them are even choosing just to save them for college students. And so just to be mindful and, not rely necessarily on the possibility of getting a research internship, or at least not as easily as one used to. So that's one thing to keep in mind with internships. And another one was this new, fairly new thing that's occurring, which is let's call it pay-to-play internships, where, some companies, you can pay them and they will provide you with internships. And just the advice was to kind of, be mindful of those. Do your due diligence, do your research. Sometimes those are not necessarily the best options. And also sometimes you have to be very careful. For example, there are some companies might operate out of a famous college's campus, but not actually be associated directly with that college. So please just keep in mind if you do some of these pay-to-play internships and decide to do that, just to really do your research about them. One of the most important pieces of advice that was given about internships was to pick a lane and to be able to back it up. For example, if you want to go into finance, maybe don't do an internship in a dentist office. It just serves you better to have a more consistent and prolonged story that starts to back up your particular interest, and it just looks better on your application and it tells a story basically. So that was a very interesting piece of advice that they had on internships. The next category that they talked about was called pre-college. These are some of these kind of programs where you can go on a college campus and, spend a week, more than a week, living on that campus, taking some courses, being involved in particular programs. You get to sort of be independent, live on that college, do your own laundry. It's a little bit of a simulation of what the college experience is going to be like. And obviously colleges do like to see some of those on your application, but it's something to keep in mind is that a lot of these pre-college programs, some of the famous ones, Brown, Yale, UPenn, they are extremely expensive programs. And just to note that, colleges will consider that, these are available to the people who can truly afford these high prices. And they're not necessarily things that are available to people of lower socioeconomic status and people who can't afford them. And so you don't necessarily want to distinguish yourself on those parameters right off the bat. You might be better off sort of putting those lower on your, activities that you did, just because it's not necessarily all a positive thing. Now, something that is a positive thing is there are lots of college campuses that have free programs, and you can just search those up and find a good one. And those just come across as a little more, kind of inclusive and well-rounded. So next category that they touched on was summer school. There are students who take classes during the summer, either to enhance their portfolio or to, take off some of their workload in college. One place that you can do that are community colleges and other kinds of things. So some people tend to do that. That's just another thing to consider. There is also the idea of summer camps, which obviously is always a good thing. And especially if it morphs into, let's say, a position of a counselor, because, you can kind of show that you work well with others, that you have leadership, that you're responsible. Something to consider for any of these kinds of things is to, if you are doing something that, let's say, doesn't really have much to do with your interest, maybe consider finding a way to build on a particular skill you might have while you're at, one of those things. For example, if you work in an ice cream shop, they use the example of, can you use your interest in business to somehow parlay your job at the ice cream shop and learn about franchising? Or if you work in a summer camp, can you build on a particular skill that you have to improve something at the camp? And if you can't do any of those things, then if you're doing something after these activities, then maybe make sure those things have something to do with your lane, quote unquote. And next category that they highlighted was extracurriculars. So one thing to consider is if you have particular extracurriculars that you enjoy doing at school, maybe consider enhancing those into your summer months. And one piece of advice that they had was maybe try doing something different than the classic 7, what they call the classic 7, which is the ones that you would consider, the usual extracurriculars. It's like music, sports, debate, some of those kind of more obvious ones. Maybe can you find an extracurricular that sort of differentiates you away from those classic sort of more typical extracurricular activities. And finally, the idea of community service was mentioned, which is a very, very well looked upon activity for our students. They are definitely encouraged to participate in community service activities. Colleges absolutely love knowing that you're doing something good for the community, and the summer is a really, really good time to embark on those kinds of activities, and these can be anything like volunteering at your local YMCA or the Boys and Girls Club, or they can be something you do from home, or they use the example of, baking dog biscuits and giving them to, animal shelters. Whatever your student can think of that is somehow giving back to the community is definitely looked upon with a lot of positivity. And just, to mention that with any of these things, especially, they highlighted that our students are at Carnegie Vanguard. It's a wonderful school. We have wonderful counselors. And so they definitely highlighted, utilizing your counselors, asking them if they have any ideas for things like community service activities or anything else you might be considering. And of course, the Akala group themselves are, making themselves available. They provide a free consultation initially, and then they have discounts for Carnegie Vanguard students, and they are pretty amazing and available, and their rates are pretty affordable and great. If you guys want to get in touch with them, see what kind of thing is good for you, whether on a month-to-month basis, or you can sign up for the year and get more discounts, and then you can get all this information and have them really involved in the application process of your students. So we truly appreciate their presence and thank them so much for their presentation and for giving us all that wonderful advice. So that was a little bit of a summary of what the Akala group presented. And then after they were done, we had Principal Moss basically do a presentation or, kind of bring us up to date on Cvhs's implementation of the weapons detection system. For those of you who don't know, HISD is requiring that Cvhs, and I think it's all HISD high schools, implement weapons detection systems. So Principal Moss walked us through what that was going to look like. The week of May 5th, they will begin the implementation process. And the idea is that probably the first day that this weapon detection system will be in use, and all of our students, staff, parents, teachers, everybody will be going through the detection system will be on May 7th. And this is going to consist of two towers set on two entrances. One is at the front entrance in front of the semicircular driveway, and the other one will be at Genesee Street. And these are going to be sort of detection systems that you walk through. The students will be walking in a single file. They will have to take out, actually, this is for everybody, students, staff, volunteers, teachers, parents, everybody. If they have backpacks, they will have to remove laptops and larger electronics, place them on a table, walk through the detection system, and then pick them back up. And, this will all be done in a single file. And we will be hopefully, getting used to it in the couple of weeks to come after the implementation. Just so you know, Principal Moss will be providing a presentation that I will be putting, or we will be putting on the website for you to look at. But I just wanted to give you a quick update on what's happening with that, and just to let you know that that's something that's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks. I guess that's it as far as catching you up with basically what was discussed during the general meeting. I'm sorry that our usual video was not available. Like I said, I will definitely be providing the minutes, which is a general summary of everything that happened, and hopefully that'll all help you guys know what was talked about. If there are any questions, always feel free to contact anybody on the PTO. And of course, so much of this information is always available on the Cvhs PTO website. Thank you guys so much, and hope to talk to you again soon.